Hello, and welcome to this Excel tutorial in which we are going to learn our first 17 Excel functions. In order to keep it simple, we are going to focus just upon the basics needed to get you started. We don't look at troubleshooting and we don't look at any one function in any great deal of depth. These 17 functions are provided to get you off the starting block. Everything that you continue to learn in the future can build upon these foundations. So, let's get started with the sum function. The sum function. All Excel formulas start with an equals sign followed by the function name and an open bracket, then followed by the arguments and values being calculated, with a closing bracket to finish off the formula. The function is the part between the equals sign and the open bracket. In this case, sum. The function name tells the formula what sort of calculation or operation to perform. The sum function has four main arguments which are as follows: addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. The default argument of the sum function is addition, which means that we don't need to use the plus sign in order to add up the value of two cells, a range of cells or an array of cells. For example, however, we do need to use the plus sign when we introduce numeric values into our formulas. For example, notice that in order to get the correct answer we must add the final calculation, plus 6, outside of the brackets. You can use the fill handle to select the whole range of cells that you want to perform the calculation upon as follows. Next, let's look at some simple examples of using the equals sum function for subtraction in an Excel formula. And here are some multiplication formulas in action. Finally, let's look at using the sum function for division. Now we will take a look at the average and AVERAGEIF functions. The average function returns the mean average of a range or array of cells. The AVERAGEIF function returns the mean average of a range or array of cells only for cells where certain conditions are met. In our example of the average function, we are working with percentages, so we first need to ensure that we format the cell as a percentage in order to get the correct result. Once we have done this, we can execute the average function to find out the mean average rainfall for the week. Now we want to know the mean average rainfall, or precipitation, only upon days when the air quality was fair. For this we can use AVERAGEIF function. The AVERAGEIF function takes three arguments. Firstly, the range of cells that we are querying. Secondly, the value which we should match within that range of cells, in this instance fair. Thirdly, the range of cells that we want to extract information from should the value in part 2 match one or more of those cells. The COUNTA and COUNTBLANK functions are ones which count the number of cells within a specified range. The COUNTA function counts the number of cells in a range of cells which are not empty. The COUNTBLANK function counts the number of blank cells in a range of cells. The convert function can convert many different units of measurement from one unit to another. Here, we are going to cover just one temperature conversion, one distance conversion and one speed conversion, which is only the tip of the iceberg of what the convert function can do. If you want to learn more about the convert function, we have put a link in the description below to our Excel convert function toolkit, which will help you to learn more about the capabilities of this highly useful feature of Excel. Example 1. Convert the temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Excel's convert function consists of three parts. 1. The value to perform the conversion upon. In this instance, the value present in cell B6. 2. The unit that we are converting from, in this instance Celsius. 3. The unit that we are converting to, in this instance Fahrenheit. We can use the fill handle to apply the conversion across the whole week. Example 2. Converting distance from miles to kilometers. For this example, we are going to need to format the cells to a number value with 2 decimal places. We specify miles by using the unit operator mi. Then for kilometers, we prefix the meter unit m with the multiplier k in order to get kilometers. Example 3. Converting speed from miles per hour to kilometers per hour. In the last example, we used the convert function to change miles into kilometers. To be more accurate here, we should really convert the speed rather than distance, because we are converting the wind speed. Luckily, the convert function can handle units of speed as well as ones of distance. Now we shall look at the max and min functions. The max and min functions are fairly self-explanatory, and we use them to return either the highest or lowest value in a range of cells respectively. In this instance, we are going to use the max function to show us the highest daily rainfall and then use the min function to show us the lowest. Remember that we need to make sure that the cell inside which we place the formula is formatted as a percentage, because daily precipitation, or rainfall, in column D is a percentage value. But what if we wanted to show the second highest daily rainfall, or the third highest or lowest? For this we can use the large and small functions, which give us much more flexibility and maneuverability than the max and min functions. The large and small functions take a second comma-separated argument which tells Excel to look for the first, second or third largest or smallest value and so forth. In this instance, the value of 2 returns the second largest number, which in this instance is still 90% since we have 2 days that have 90% rainfall. The value of 3 returns the third highest value, which is 60%. The small function simply counts in the opposite direction to the large function. So for example, in this instance the value of 3 returns the third smallest value, which is 20%. The XLOOKUP function is a powerful function which can consist of up to 6 different parts. Today, we are just going to perform the most basic XLOOKUP, which uses just the first 3 of these. XLOOKUP only works in the latest Excel 365 and Excel 2021 versions. If you have an older version of Excel and want to perform lookups, then you can learn dget, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. If you would like to learn about XLOOKUP in more depth, we have put a link in the description below to our XLOOKUP tutorial. In this example, we are going to use our XLOOKUP to find out what the humidity is going to be on Wednesday. The first part of the XLOOKUP specifies the cell that we want to find, cell I8, which contains the value of Wednesday. The second part of the XLOOKUP tells Excel which column or range of cells to use to look for that cell, the range from cell I6 to cell I12. The third part of the XLOOKUP specifies the column or range of cells to inspect to find the value in the corresponding row to Weds on row 8. We can also create an XLOOKUP whereby a user can simply enter the data lookup and get a result. This adds a very useful extra dimension to XLOOKUP's functionality. Now when we type the name of any day of the week into cell I7, we get a result which shows us the humidity on that particular day. We use the if function to test if a certain condition is met and to perform one action if the result of the test is true, or to perform a different action if the result of the test is untrue. In this basic example of the if function, we test whether the value in cell I7 is equal to the value to use. In the second part of the comma-separated formula, we place the text to show if the test is true. In the third part of the formula, we place the text to show if the test is untrue. If we want to test more than one condition with an if function, then we can bring in the AND function to help us out. This example looks a little bit more in depth than what we have previously encountered, but it's really just an extension of what we did previously with the equals if function. We are going to create a formula using both the and if functions to check whether the rainfall on Tuesday is over 50% and whether the wind speed is over 15 miles per hour. If both tests are true, then we will show one string of text. However, if both strings are false, then we will show a different string of text. Since we are now using two functions, each needs its own opening bracket. And, since we are now testing two conditions, we place these two tests inside brackets and separate them with a comma. Then, it's just the same as we did before, whereby we provide the text string to show if the test is true and then the text string to show if the test is false. This gives us our complete formula. Now let's see the AND function and if function in action. Ceiling, floor and MROUND are all Excel functions that you can use to round up or round down numerical values. There are more round functions that you can explore in Excel as well, including round, round up, round down and others, but these first three will get you off the starting block. When using these functions, you should remember to format your cells to show the number of decimal places that you want to display. The ceiling function rounds a number up to its nearest whole number. Alternatively, if we want to round a number down, then we can use the floor function. We can also round up or round down smaller fractions using these two functions by using decimals. For example, the floor and ceiling functions can also work in multiples as well as in fractions. For example, in this instance we round up to the next multiple of 2, which is 14. If we want a more flexible function than either equals floor or equals ceiling that is able to round a number up or round a number down depending upon whether the decimal value is equal to or above 0.5 or under 0.5, then we can use the MROUND function. The CORREL function provides a correlation coefficient between two sets of data. In layman's terms, a correlation coefficient gives us the statistical relationship between two variables showing results between the values of -1 and 1. We don't need to get too bogged down with this, beyond saying that despite the big words, the CORREL function can give us visually meaningful information upon the relationship between two sets of data, which is easy to interpret. This is actually a really powerful function, the basics of which are fairly easy to get the hang of. We can use the CORREL function to give us the correlation coefficient between the highest and lowest daily temperatures across the whole week. The result of approximately 75 gives us a fairly strong correlation between the highest and lowest temperatures each day across the whole week. We can get more of a feel for this as we apply the CORREL function to a couple of days where there is a larger overall temperature difference between the highest and lowest values. So, if we select Thursday through to Sunday this time, we can see that there is now a weaker correlation between the highest and lowest temperatures overall. But wait, why has the output value changed to a negative number? Well, remember that we said that the CORREL function gives us an output value between -1 and 1. Well, in this instance the total of the lowest temperatures is less than half of the value of the total of the highest temperatures. As such, the result that we get has pivoted past 0 and into a negative number. As soon as the total sum of column C becomes more than half of the total sum of the cells in column B, the result pivots back into a positive value. That concludes our introduction to Excel functions for absolute beginners. Over the past 15 minutes we have covered the basic syntax needed to work with 17 different Excel functions, and you can now put into practice what you have learnt and start to extend your knowledge.